What if I told you that the reason you can't find cheap flights isn't because they don't exist? It's because the sites you're using aren't allowed to show them to you. Google Flights, Expedia, Skyscanner, they're all limited by the same airline partnership rules. But there's one site that ignores those rules completely, and it finds routes that no other booking platform can. It's called Kiwi.com. And after this video, it's going to be the first place you check every single time. Okay, so to understand why Kiwi.com is different, you need to understand something about how traditional flight booking works. And I promise this isn't boring. Stick with me for 60 seconds because it changes everything. When you search Google Flights or Expedia, you're only seeing flights from airlines that have formal agreements with each other. It's called interlining. Basically, two airlines shaking hands and agreeing to work together. Airlines like American, Delta, and United have these deals. When you book a connecting flight through a major carrier, they agree to transfer your bags and look after you if your connection gets missed. But here's the thing. Budget airlines like Ryanair, Wizz Air, and EasyJet refuse to sign those agreements. They don't want to be responsible for anyone else's delays. So if you want to fly from, say, Chicago to some smaller city in Europe, standard booking sites literally cannot build you a route that uses both a major carrier and a budget airline in the same itinerary. They just can't. The system won't allow it. That's exactly the problem that Kiwi.com was built to solve. Back in 2012, a guy named Oliver Glauhe was trying to book a cheap flight and kept hitting dead ends. He realized that if you manually book two separate tickets, one on a major airline, one on a budget carrier, you could build routes that were way cheaper than anything on the standard sites. The problem was doing it yourself was risky. If your first flight was delayed and you missed your budget airline connection, you were completely on your own. The second airline had no idea you existed on that first flight. So Oliver built an algorithm that does this automatically. You search Kiwi.com, and instead of just showing you pre-approved airline routes, it searches millions of flight combinations across 500+ airlines, including budget carriers that refuse to cooperate with each other, and stitches them together into a single bookable itinerary. They call this virtual interlining, and the savings can be dramatic. Here's a real example. Let's say you want to fly from London to Bangkok. A standard booking site might show you a British Airways route with one stop for $850. Kiwi.com might build you an itinerary. Ryanair from London to Budapest, then a cheap connecting flight on Thai Lion Air for $410. That combination doesn't exist anywhere else. No other site would show it to you because no airline officially sells it. But Kiwi's algorithm finds it, prices it in real time, and lets you book the whole thing in one go. Over 10 million travelers have now used virtual interlining to book routes that literally didn't exist before Kiwi built them. Now here's the part that I know you're already thinking about. What happens if something goes wrong? What if my first flight is delayed and I miss that second flight on a completely different airline that has no idea about my first ticket? That's the smart question. And it's exactly why the Kiwi Guarantee exists. His is the feature that makes virtual interlining actually usable for normal people. When you book through Kiwi.com, you can add something called the Kiwi Guarantee to your itinerary. And here's what it means in plain English. If your first flight is delayed and you miss your connection, Kiwi will rebook you on the next available flight to your destination at no extra cost. Or they'll give you an instant travel credit if they can't rebook you in time. This is massive. Because without this, you're taking on all the risk of that missed connection yourself. With it, Kiwi takes on that risk for you, even though you're flying on two separate airlines that have no relationship with each other whatsoever. Now, I want to be straight with you here. The Kiwi Guarantee isn't free. It adds a small cost to your booking, kind of like a mini travel insurance add-on. And the coverage isn't unlimited. If you choose a connection time that's unrealistically short, it may not cover you. Kiwi's algorithm does calculate realistic minimum connection times based on real passenger data and airport layouts, and it flags connections that are too tight. My advice: if it's flagged as a tight connection, pay for the guarantee, or just pick a different itinerary with a longer layover. For most standard virtual interlining itineraries, the guarantee is 100% worth the small upcharge. The savings you're making on the ticket more than cover it. Okay, so virtual interlining is the headline feature, but there's another thing Kiwi does that I genuinely haven't seen anywhere else. And this one alone has saved me hundreds of dollars. It's called multi-airport search, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Instead of typing in one departure city and one destination, you can type in up to 5 departure airports, and up to 5 destination airports at the same time. And Kiwi searches every combination at once. Here's why that matters. Let's say you live in New York, and you want to go to Spain. Most people just search JFK to Madrid and book whatever comes up. But Kiwi lets you search JFK, Newark, and Boston, all departing, against Madrid, Barcelona, and Lisbon, all arriving. Maybe the JFK to Lisbon flight is $200 cheaper, and you can take a quick train to where you actually want to be. You'd never know to search that manually, but Kiwi surfaces it instantly. One traveler I read about saved $600 on a flight to Japan, just by discovering it was dramatically cheaper to fly from Montreal than New York. Kiwi showed that combination automatically. They never would have thought to search it. If you have any flexibility at all, in your airports, your dates, or even your destination, Kiwi's multi-airport search is the most powerful tool in travel. Real quick, if you want to try Kiwi.com right now, I've got a link in the description below. It takes you straight to the search page. It's free to use, and there's no account required to search. If you do book through that link, it helps support this channel. And I mean that genuinely. It's a big deal for a channel this small. I only link to tools I'd actually use myself, and Kiwi is one of them. Okay, back to it. All right, I want to be completely honest with you here because I think the best travel channels give you the full picture, not just the sell. Use Kiwi.com when you're flexible on your departure or destination airports. You want to reach a destination that has limited direct routes. You're combining budget carriers, and you need the guarantee to protect that. You're a backpacker or a digital nomad who can work with a bit of itinerary creativity. Don't rely on Kiwi when you're booking a simple, single-airline route. Just book direct with the airline or use Google Flights. You need rigid, stress-free travel, because virtual interlining does require you to manage 2 separate tickets, and not everyone wants that. And if your connection times are already tight, pick a safer itinerary or budget extra time. The best way I describe Kiwi is this. It's a discovery tool. Search it first to find the route, check the savings, understand the itinerary. And if it makes sense, book it. If you'd rather keep it simple, that's completely fine too. But at least now you know it exists. So, the bottom line on Kiwi.com. It's a legitimate, well-established flight search engine that's been around since 2012 and has processed over 10 million bookings through virtual interlining alone. It finds routes that no other booking site will show you by combining airlines that don't cooperate with each other, and the Kiwi Guarantee protects you if something goes wrong in between. Is it the right tool for every single trip? No. But if you've got any flexibility at all, it should absolutely be the first place you check before you book. Because the difference between the cheapest flight and the one you default to out of habit can be hundreds of dollars. And that's money that could pay for your hotel, your tours, or honestly, another trip altogether. Link is in the description. Give it a search on your next trip and let me know in the comments what route you found and what you saved. I actually read every single one. If this was useful, hit the like button. It makes a big difference for a new channel. And subscribe if you want more videos on how to travel smarter and spend less. That's exactly what we do here on Coast to Clouds. I'll see you in the next one.